What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and it's UFC 296 fight week, which means I'm here to bring you guys a predictions video. This is probably going to be a longer one because I'm going to be going through the entire card top to bottom and giving you guys my thoughts on them. I'm also going to be providing some betting insight on some of the prelim fights, and I'll let you know some picks that I'm going to be personally making at the end of the video. So yeah, buckle up and let's get into it. Alright, so starting off with the first fight on the prelims, we have Randy Brown versus Muslim Salikov. Randy Brown is the favorite in this one, and I am going to be taking Randy Brown to get the job done because I think he's the more rangier guy. This fight is going to stay on the feet. Salikov's aging, and he hasn't particularly impressed me against any high-level opponent. I mean, neither is Randy Brown, but yeah, I just like Randy Brown here. I think stylistically it makes more sense, so yeah, that's who I'm taking for the first fight. Yeah, I'm going to be blasting through the prelims as there's a lot of fights to get through and I don't want to make this an hour-long video. So I'll go in depth with the main card a lot more though. So the next fight we have up is Martin Buday against Shamil Gaziev. And this is a fight I really like in terms of betting because I'm going to be taking Shamil Gaziev here as the underdog. He is honestly just, I think, the better fighter. Undefeated, coming off the Contender Series, he looked really good there, and Martin Buday is just not really impressive in my opinion. I think he's big, he's slow, and I think Shamil will find his chin and get the job done. Next one up is Andre Fili versus Lucas Almeida, and this is honestly one of the tougher fights to pick on the card. I've been going back and forth with it, but ultimately I've decided to take Lucas Almeida here. I think he is a stronger guy. I know Fili has fought a lot more high-level opponents, but it's not like he's been winning a lot of those fights, so I am going to go with Almeida here just because I think he has a little bit more to his game, and I think he'll get the job done. In terms of a betting perspective, I'd probably stay away from this one as this one's close, and I don't think there's a lot of great value, but yeah, that's my pick for this one, Lucas Almeida. Moving up the card now, we have Tagir Ulbankov taking on Cody Durden, and I actually like Durden here. He's also at plus money, and to be honest, I think that Durden just might have a little bit more right now, and he's looked better in recent performances. This is also a close one, though. I wouldn't be too crazy with making bets for this fight. I would probably stay away from this one, but if you are, take Cody Durden. I think he has the wrestling, of course, and I think he may have enough to get the job done here in a 15-minute fight. Next up, we have Alonzo Mainfield taking on Dustin Jacoby to close out the early prelims. Another really close fight. Two big, powerful guys that could probably take each other's lights out at any point in this fight. But I am going to go Mainfield just because I know he's been fighting Jimmy Crute, but he has looked good and he has a little bit more, I think, to his game. I think he's a quicker fighter as well. I think Jacoby, while powerful, tends to be a little slow at times and has cardio issues. So yeah, I'm going to go with Alonzo Mainfield for this one. Next up, we have Casey O'Neill taking on Ariane Lipski, and in this one I do like Casey O'Neill. I think she's going to want to come back in a big way after her loss to Jennifer Maia. I still think she's one of the best strikers in the women's flyweight division, and she's going to show it here. Lipski hasn't really done anything too impressive, so yeah, let's just go with Casey O'Neill here. She is the better fighter, and I think she'll get the job done. Next up, we have Cody Garbrandt, and he's taking on Brian Kelleher. Here I am going with Cody Garbrandt. I think Cody's going to always find his way against these lesser opponents and unranked guys, and I see no different here. I think he'll go out there and comfortably cruise himself to a nice decision victory. It's just when Cody gets up against those really high-level guys, and especially in this bantamweight division, which is stacked, I think that's where he struggles. But against a guy like Kelleher, who's almost 40, I think he'll comfortably get the job done. Next up, we have Irene Aldana taking on Karol Rosa. And I think a lot of people are going to be high on Aldana going into this one because they just saw her fight Amanda Nunes where she threw about 6 punches. But I do still think she'll get the job done as well. I think she is a better striker than Rosa. Rosa is the bigger girl, but she is at bantamweight for this fight, of course. And I just think she's nowhere near fast enough to hang with Aldana on the feet. She's going to have to take her down to get the job done, but I don't know if it'll be enough. So yeah, I am going Aldana, but it's not a super obvious pick, and definitely one I wouldn't throw all your money on if you were betting. So just be careful with this one, but yeah, I am gonna go with Irene Aldana. And to close out the prelims and our featured prelim matchup. This was initially supposed to be Josh Emmett versus Giga Chikadze. Chikadze pulled out, so Bryce Mitchell comes and steps in. And this is a really interesting matchup and a really fun fight to have as the featured prelim bout. Of course, Bryce Mitchell, we know what he's about. Great wrestler, and he hasn't really seen too much difficulty besides against Ilia Topuria, but I mean, who hasn't? And he has skills that can get the job done here. You have Josh Emmett, on the other hand, who seems to just also not know how to deal with Ilia Topuria, so unfortunate for him. But yeah, he also lost to Yair Rodriguez recently, so he's definitely due for a win and in need of one. And against a guy like Bryce Mitchell, usually I would not favor him here, and stylistically it doesn't make too much sense. But Bryce Mitchell, he's coming in on short notice. I never like guys coming in on short notice. I mean, we've seen obviously with guys like Usman, Volkanovski. It doesn't really work out like that for them. Of course, Bryce can go in there and get the job done. I'm not saying he can't, but I think Josh Emmett, he's a powerful puncher, and if he can find Bryce's chin, he could probably take him out. And I think he's just going to be in better shape for this fight. So if this was a full training camp, I would go Bryce Mitchell, but I think Josh Emmett will get the job done here, and at plus money, it might not be a bad idea. Moving up the card now to one of my more anticipated fights, we have Tony Ferguson taking on Paddy Pimblett, another hated fighter in Paddy Pimblett amongst the MMA community, and that's because of his last fight against Jared Gordon a year ago, which a lot of people thought he didn't win, and he unfairly won. So yeah, a lot riding in this fight for Paddy, as well for Tony. This fight means a lot for both of these guys and can completely change the trajectory of their careers. I think Tony, he hasn't looked great as of late, let's be honest. I mean, fighting Bobby Green and Nate Diaz and losing to both of those guys by submission, it's just not a great look for him, but it seems that he's made changes now. He's training with David Goggins. I don't know how much that's going to help him, but who knows? Maybe it does, and maybe it really helps him in this fight. I don't think he's going to have to worry about Paddy striking too much. Paddy throws a lot of single shots, and Tony is good at countering those, and I think that won't be where Paddy wins this fight. Paddy's going to have to take this to the ground. He's going to have to try and grapple a bit, and that's where Tony could lose. If Tony keeps this on the feet, I do favor him in this fight, honestly. I think he could definitely win this by decision. I don't think either guy is getting finished here. If someone were to, it'd probably be Tony, but yeah, I don't know. This is a tough fight to predict. Part of me wants to just say Tony because I really want to see him win, and the odds, betting-wise, are really in his favor. Like, plus 400 is crazy, but it's a risky one, man. This is a risky fight for both guys, and probably one I'd stay away from betting-wise, but yeah, I'm going to take Tony. Why not? I'm going to take him to win this fight. I'm not entirely confident with that pick, but Paddy doesn't scare me at all. I don't think that there's anything in his game where I see like, yeah, that's where Tony is going to be screwed. So I think this is a fair matchup. I think this is definitely a winnable fight for Tony, and I'd like to see him do so, and I think he's going to do so. So yeah, Tony Ferguson by decision. That's my pick, and let's move on to the next fight. Now, I know I said that Tony and Paddy was one of my most anticipated fights on the card, but this one is my most anticipated, and it's Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. What a great fight this is, man. This is fight of the night written all over it, in my opinion. You have two incredible fighters. Of course, Shavkat Rakhmonov, 17-0, all finishes. The dude's a killer. The dude's a beast. We all know that this guy is the real deal and will probably be fighting for a title in the near future. On the other side, you have the veteran, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who is still one of the best strikers in the UFC, even at his age. The guy is just incredible on the feet, and I think this fight is a really close fight, and I think a lot of people are thinking just Shavkat's just going to run him over, maul him, but I don't know, man. Shavkat Rakhmonov last time out with Jeff Neal, he decided to stand on the feet with him, and there was times where Neal cracked him and put him in dangerous positions. So if he decides to do that this time out with Wonderboy, who is one of the best strikers in the UFC, in my opinion, he's going to have a hard time. Like, you do not want to be on the feet with Wonderboy for 15 minutes. The way Shavkat wins this fight, honestly, is going to be grappling and wrestling. I don't think he wins this if he tries to stay on the feet. I think Wonderboy will find his chin at some point. And ultimately, my official pick for this one, while I really want to say Wonderboy because he's one of my favorite fighters, I got to take the bias out of it. I got to recognize the talent. And I'm going to choose Shavkat Rakhmonov, but this will be the first fight where he doesn't get the finish, I think. I think this will be a decision win for him. It'll be close, but he'll ultimately do enough to get the job done and secure himself potentially a title shot. I think this will be the fight that'll make it for him. And for Wonderboy, if he loses, he'll probably retire, which sucks, but I don't know, man. You're going up against a killer like Shavkat. It's going to be tough no matter what. I hope he's able to get the win. I hope he goes in there and he's able to finish Shavkat because win or lose for Shavkat, I mean, he'll still have a long career ahead of him where he will be fighting for titles. The guy's just that good. But, yeah, I don't see it happening this time. I think Shavkat will win. And, yeah, I think he'll pick up his first decision victory of his career. Moving on now to our two title fights on the card. First one up, we have a fight for the flyweight championship. And it's Alexandre Pantoja taking on Brandon Royval. This is going to be a fun one. I honestly don't think that this is going to be close, though. I think Pantoja is going to come away with a win pretty quickly in this one. We saw, of course, last time out he was able to do that. And Royval, while the power is there, and that's always something to worry about, I don't know. I think Pantoja is just too good right now, man. I think he is definitely the best flyweight on the planet, and he proved that last time out against Brandon Moreno. It was a really tough fight for him, really bloody, and he came out victorious, and he did really well. So I don't know if Royval can put that kind of pressure on him that Moreno did, and I think it'll be pretty easy for Pantoja to just overcome the adversity and whatever Royval's able to throw at him in this one. So from a betting perspective, if you want to have some fun, I mean, you could throw money on Pantoja to win by submission at plus money. That'll be fun, but I don't know, maybe stick away from this one because you never know in title fights. It's always tough, but yeah, I'm going to go with Pantoja. I'm pretty confident with that too. I don't want to completely write off Brandon Royval because there's always a puncher's chance, but I do think Pantoja is just the overall better fighter. So yeah, I'm taking Pantoja, and I'm taking him to win by sub. Moving on to our final fight on the card, and it's the highly anticipated return of Colby Covington, and he is taking on Leon Edwards for the welterweight title. What a fun fight. I'm so excited for this one, and this is the toughest fight to predict of the year. On one side, you look at Colby, you look at the wrestling, you look at the cardio and the pressure, and you see that this guy is just the worst possible stylistic matchup for a guy like Leon. But then you also have to take into account, we haven't seen this guy in pretty much 2 years almost. And his last fight was against Jorge Masvidal, who, let's face it, was definitely not at the peak of his powers at that time. Then, you look at a guy like Leon Edwards, who has fought Kamaru Usman twice in the past year and defeated him both times. And his confidence is going to be through the roof after beating one of the greatest welterweights of all time. And that was also something Colby couldn't have done. So, I don't know, like this is such a tough fight to predict, man. I just posted a video that I think some of you may have seen, and it's going to be the same prediction I give right here. It's going to be Leon Edwards to win by KO, and not because I think Colby is bad, and Colby's just going to get completely run through in this fight, but Leon is he's just one of the best strikers in the world. Like, he's just able to just find people and really do damage to them. We saw what he did to Usman last time out. He didn't get the finish, but he slowly picked him apart. And with a guy like Covington, he's not going to be able to do that this time. Colby's going to put a pressure on him. He's going to be trying to go for takedowns and stuff. So, Leon, if he's going to win this fight, I think he has to win by knockout. Like, I don't think he can go 25 minutes with Colby and successfully win. I think if this were to hit the judges, it probably goes in Colby Covington's favor. I do think Colby is a bit of a sloppy striker as well, and he doesn't hit hard at all. So if this fight stays on the feet for too long at any point in this fight, I think Leon will find his chin. I don't think it'll be a clean knockout, but I could definitely see him catching him with something and sitting him down and then throwing in a couple more punches for a TKO finish. and winning the fight. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. Betting wise, I mean, you could take Leon to win by knockout. There is plus money there, but the line is pretty even for this one. So whoever you think is going to win, just take them and just have some fun with it. This is a great fight at the end of the day. Even not betting on this might be the best idea here. Just enjoy this fight. This is a great fight, and we'll see who the best welterweight on the planet is. I'm really, really intrigued to see what Colby has done in his time off and how it's going to affect him. So Leon Edwards is my final pick for the main event. It's tough. It pains me because I am a Colby Covington fan, but yeah, I have to go with the activity here. I think that's going to be a big one in this fight. But yeah, let me give you guys some of my favorite betting picks for this card. I think there's a lot of money to be made here, a lot of fun fights, and yeah, let's get into it. So the first prop I like is Shamil Gaziev to win, and at plus money, I think this line will change closer to the fight. So if you want to hop on it now. But yeah, Shamil Gaziev at plus 180 is just, it's great value. I don't think Boudet is anything special, really, and I think Shamil, he looked great on the Contender Series, and I don't see why he can't get the job done here. So yeah, that'll be my first prop. The next one, a bit of the riskier one. I think out of the four I'm about to mention to you guys, I think this is the riskiest, and that is going to be Josh Emmett, money line, plus 168. At plus money, I feel like you have to take this. Like this, I know like Bryce Mitchell is very good and stylistically a horrible matchup for Josh Emmett, but like I said earlier, I don't trust guys coming in on short notice, and I think Emmett has the power to end this one. So yeah, I'm going to say Josh Emmett plus 168, another great one to hop on. And the final prop that I'm going to be taking, I mentioned it a bit earlier, is going to be Alejandro Pantoja to win by submission at plus 145. I think this is great value for this fight. We've seen it happen before, so why can't it happen again? Pantoja's a great fighter, and ultimately, I think this one, out of all the ones I've said, is probably the most likely. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be taking this one as well. So there you guys have it. Those are my picks for UFC 296. Definitely a bit of a longer video, but I wanted to go through the full card because this card's absolutely stacked and deserved to have a proper full breakdown. I'm also going to be making a lot more bets for this fight. I just wanted to give you my initial thoughts on these ones that really stood out to me. And yeah, over the week, check Shorts, check TikTok, check Instagram. I'm going to be posting more. It'll be probably a lot more parlays and stuff. I know parlays don't always work, but there's a lot of fun fights on this card with a lot of fun value, so I'm definitely going to be making a few. If you guys enjoyed, please consider subscribing and liking to the channel. Always helps me out a lot. And of course, let me know if you guys would like this type of format of video, if you want to see this in the future for more events. I'd be more than happy to do so. I just think that not a lot of people love the long videos, but with this card, it's a special one, so I decided to give it its full respect. But yeah, thank you once again for watching the video, and enjoy the fights. They're going to be awesome. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.